Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I already thought you could do this in Florida, but I guess I was wrong.
Another major change that's gotten a lot of publicity has to do with our state's gun laws. Legal gun owners will now be able, starting tomorrow, to carry their weapons concealed without a permit or any training required. It's a controversial change that was signed into law by the governor a few months back.
Oh, Chris, there could be a lot of first-time carriers out there once this law goes into effect starting tomorrow. Firearms experts agree if you're going to be carrying, especially first-timers, go get training. Otherwise, you could be in for a world of trouble. If come July 1st, you're going to carry a concealed weapon in Florida for the first time and plan to forego any training, listen up.
People who think they can carry a gun without training deserve what they're going to get, which is put into a cage or a hole in their body they weren't born with.
That's firearms instructor Ryan G. Thomas. He says when it comes to gun safety, many people think they know what they're doing, but in reality, he says, they should think twice.
The truth is you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't realize how little you understand about how to handle a firearm safely.
Florida's permitless carry law, effective July 1st, removes the need for mandated training or a concealed weapons permit. In other words, if you can legally own a gun, you can concealed carry. It's a major victory for Second Amendment enthusiasts. Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Chronister just put out this PSA ahead of the law's launch.
This law doesn't change the need for responsible gun ownership. It's your responsibility to know the law and follow firearm safety protocols like proper storage, handling, and training.
And even with this new law in effect, there are still several places you cannot bring a gun. Number one, private businesses that don't allow guns. If they say no, you can't bring your gun in there. You can't bring your gun to a school, and you certainly cannot bring your gun to the airport. Don't do that. You will be in a lot of trouble. All of these things, Chris, you will learn if you go to a training class.
As is always the case whenever a new state does this, you get people start burning their bras in the street, clutching their pearls. Oh my horror, why would you allow people to carry firearms without a permit? Well, it's because it's a constitutional right. Either all constitutional rights are treated the same, or we don't have any rights. That's kind of how it goes. That said, I get people's concern. They think people should be required to get training in order to carry a firearm in public. Now, I don't agree with that. A training requirement before carrying a firearm has largely been used to prevent people from carrying a firearm, especially in states that are exceedingly anti-gun. What they do is they make the requirements so hard, so arduous, that regular people who don't have the time to take off and spend hours upon hours upon hours in a classroom setting and pay all of these fees that come with getting a permit, they won't be able to do that in order to carry a firearm. What it does is it opens up the ability for people to be able to protect themselves to everyone. Like I said, it's a constitutional right. It's not a privilege. So the ability to carry a firearm should be open to everyone without unnecessary burdens, making it more difficult or almost impossible for people to get and carry a firearm in public. That being said, if you go out and buy a gun to carry and you don't get training, you're an idiot. Plain and simple. I'm just gonna be straight up. You are an idiot. There is absolutely no excuse whatsoever for you to go out, buy a gun, put it on your hip, have no idea, know nothing about carrying a firearm, and not get training. You're an idiot. It's not that complicated if you really think about it. Yes, I don't like the requirement aspect of it because the requirements were made to be unnecessarily complicated and hard. However, to get the information, to get the training necessary to be adequate at carrying a firearm in public so that you do it responsibly and safely, it's easily accessible. YouTube. Jump on YouTube and learn. There's so many videos that teach you the responsibilities and the ways to carry a firearm safely. It's so easy. If not that, you know how many trainers I know just in my local area who teach people this type of stuff? And they're not that expensive. Go out and find someone, go to the gun store, go to a gun shop, go to a gun range. I promise you, you'll be able to find somebody there who can teach you how to carry a firearm. When you have freedoms, those freedoms come with responsibility. And so you need to take it upon yourself and be responsible and get the training and information when it comes to carrying a firearm. So the consequences are still there. Whether you decide to go out and get the training or not, they're still there. So make sure you go out and you do that. And for the people that are screaming bloody murder because now Florida is a constitutional carry state, there's almost more than half of the states now that have constitutional carry. We live in a country that has a right that the vast majority of the world doesn't have. And that's why we are the country that we are today. And people like to sit here and say, look at the state of America, look at it now. It wasn't until we started systematically starting to take away those freedoms that we started to degrade as a society. Because what we have done is we've turned adults into children. We started treating adults like children. And once you start doing that, you start removing the idea and the concept of personal responsibility. And with freedoms, you have to have responsibility. It is ingrained in the concept. Freedom, responsibility go hand in hand. So that's why I say, I don't think people should be required to have a permit to carry a gun if they are legally allowed to carry a firearm. And that's another thing. People are over here talking about, oh my God, now all these bad people are going to carry guns. The criminals were already carrying guns before this and will always continue to carry guns. What part of criminals don't obey laws are people not understanding? Criminals will always carry guns regardless. All this does is it opens it up to the people who otherwise would not be able to carry a firearm because the requirements were too stringent. Period. And a lot of those requirements are arbitrary. It's not like we scientifically went out and sat out and said, all right, people who did this and underwent this type of training became this percentage better. Nah, man. A lot of it is just a fund generating scheme, just to make more money for the states. That's all it was. It's either a fund generating scheme or it's designed to make it harder for people to carry firearms. That's it. Go and get training. Train. And then after you train, continue to learn as much as you can about that firearm, because that is a tool designed to protect and save your life. So to have that tool and not know how to do that is irresponsible. That's it. If you're going to carry a firearm for protection, understand the way you use that firearm to protect yourself can come with legal repercussions. Some in the criminal side, some in the civil side. Because sometimes if you do use that gun to protect yourself, it may not be as clear-cut as you think, and you find yourself in the courtroom fighting for your freedom. Or you might find yourself in a courtroom fighting for your financial freedom because somebody's trying to take all your money with a civil suit, which is why I implore people to get some type of concealed carry insurance like USCCA. I work with USCCA, I am sponsored by USCCA, and I push USCCA because I believe they are the best comprehensive membership that you can get that gives you access to concealed carry insurance. So if you are interested in learning more about a USCCA membership, I'm going to put a link in the description section of this video. And before you do that, I also want to tell you about the YouTube membership that I have on this channel. YouTube members is the ability for you to support this channel and the information we give you with respect to the Second Amendment. Now, it comes in 3 different groups. You have the Pew Pew Life, the Militia, and the Ammosexuals. And each group has its own benefits and its own perks. And I personally will be doing exclusive giveaways to those members outside of the membership as a whole. But because I love my members, that's what I'll do. So if you also want to learn more about a YouTube membership, I'll put that link in the description section as well. And I know you're looking at my shirt wondering, where did he get that awesome Draco shirt from? Well, that's at shop.mrcolionnoir.com. So you can head over there and, grab you some Draco merch.